I have a marketing strategy for my new gun that I just made. No, sorry, this gun's been around for a while. I'm going to call it the Gen 5, this fifth generation. Everybody loves them. They can't get enough of them. Everybody buys Glocks like they buy, I don't know, candy or something. We're going to get rid of all of them. We're going to get rid of all of that, okay? We're going to come out with the most unpopular gun anybody's ever made. You're going to be shocked by how unpopular it is. We're going to take this, and we're going to make it not cut for an optic. We're going to make it, we're going to change the inside of it for no reason. It's probably going to make it less reliable, and so that people in Chicago can't have a lot of fun with them, okay? And we're going to sell that to the consumer for the same price that we were selling the really fun ones, okay? That's my idea. These awesome guns, out the door.
We manufacture horse semen, my friend.
Manufacture, more like collect.
I don't need it. I don't need it. I definitely don't need it.
Anyway.
I'm the guy doing it. Don't worry, Max. Don't worry, okay? I know we just got rid of all the guns that you love, okay? These awesome guns, the 47, this is the best thing everybody's ever read. I know we got rid of it, okay? We've been working on a Gen 6, all right? We've been putting so much time and effort into this. We're going to release it early.
Really?
Yes.
Why
I
would you do that?
I know we just released the really shitty one. Don't worry. We had a backup. The Gen 6. It came out. It's here, okay? You might ask us, why'd you release the Gen V? I don't know.
The answer is go.
All right, we don't need to think about that anymore. This better be really fucking good, okay? You put us through all that, okay? My emotions are very fragile. You put me through a lot in the past couple months, Glock. I'm going to be honest. Max, was this the savior we were looking for? Is this perfection? That's the question.
You know? Glock Gen 6. It's different. I don't think it's necessarily better. I definitely don't think it's worse. It's different. Some people might like it a little bit more. I don't know that I do.
I think it's like literally just a different version of the 47. Like at the end of the day, like what's different? Like the grip texture is different. The grip shape, I guess, because it has the
contour of the frame. It's a palm swell,
which is arguably worse because say what you want about blockiness, like you know where a brick is pointing because it's square.
So yeah, we'll get into that because I definitely experienced that today. Today I put about 250, maybe 300 rounds through the Glock Gen 6, which is not a ton. But considering between the two of us, we might have like 200,000 rounds through Gen 5 Glocks. We are probably qualified to render an opinion on the 6. And yeah, I would say the most noticeable changes are all in the grip. So let's talk about the grip. Oh my goodness, dude. I would say if there is one thing that's definitely an improvement, it's the texture. Agreed. I would say the texture is definitely an improvement. Now, I still don't think it's that good of a texture, but I do know that it is an improvement.
Is it just an improvement because the one that they had before was like literally not even this is bare plastic?
I would say though, if you have a Gen 5 and you've gone out of your way to put good grips on it, like Talon grips, handle it grips, whatever, you don't need to get a Gen 6. I would say the biggest improvement here is for the person who's walking into the gun store day one and they're buying their first handgun. At that point, I would say yes, definitely get a Gen 6 because the grip is better. But if you already have this, you already have an optic that you like, you already have a good trigger setup, you have everything you like about the Gen 5, there's zero reason for you to buy the Gen 6. We'll get into more of that.
I think I really like the Gen 6 grip texture. I don't have a gun currently, a Glock currently, that I really like concealed carrying because of I don't have a good grip texture. Talon grips are awesome for something like competing, but I would not want to carry this against my stomach. And I concealed carry this for about a week, and I actually really liked it. So I think that's where this grip texture shines. This or maybe law enforcement, where I would have to be wearing gloves at certain times.
Yeah, you have to think about Glock's customer base.
Yeah.
It is 90%, maybe 95% noobs that will put this in a bedside drawer and never touch it for like 3 years. Cops and people who shoot occasionally. It's not really the competitive shooter that they market towards. It's not a competition gun, although people use it that way. So the grip for the majority of Glock's customer base is probably going to be good. With that being said, do we think the Glock Gen 6 is an upgrade or is it just different?
I think it's just different.
I think the recoil spring makes it softer. I definitely think it's softer, but I think just like you have like softness versus snappiness and return, I think it's a little slower to return. You'll see videos of me shooting this, and I feel like the 47 might be a little snappier, but it's also a little faster, if that makes sense.
As we know from shooting the Glock 34, softness means nothing.
Yeah.
How the gun feels has nothing to do with how it returns and how it shoots. It's perfect zero,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
And we'll talk more about that, but a lot of people will say, oh, the Glock's not comfortable for me. It doesn't fit my hand. Well, that same person might shoot the Glock better than any other polymer framed striker fired pistol because of the grip angle, because it's uncomfortable and it forces you to engage the muscles of the forearm. I think that carries over into the Gen 6. I think their attempts to make it a little bit more comfortable might have actually made it shoot a little bit worse, in my opinion.
The flat face trigger, which from what I understand, a lot of people don't like, and they actually think it's worse than the Gen 5 trigger. They say it's mushy right when you get to the back of it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that. The trigger's different. Wow. So I would say you pull about the same amount of pressure, and then one breaks. Okay. The other one. I would say that this trigger is probably better. Both of these are low round count guns. Both of them are very low round count.
This is the 47.
This is the 47, the Gen 5 47, and this is the Gen 6 17, which is basically the Gen 6 47. I would say that the trigger shoe is definitely preferable on the 47. I really like the trigger shoe. The break, though, it's going to be lighter on the Gen 5 47 and heavier on the Gen 6 17. I think we both agree on that, but Glock is notoriously bad at making repeatable triggers. They all kind of feel different. They all have a little bit of personality to them. So I don't know that because this is heavier than the Gen 5 that your Gen 6 is going to be heavier than the Gen 5.
So people have had these for weeks now. Every single person I know has had a different trigger in theirs, basically. You either like them or you don't like them. Other than that, they're all kind of basically the same thing. I do like the trigger shoe. There's stuff you can do to make the trigger lighter that I think doesn't affect the reliability. People have been putting 4.5-pound striker springs in their guns for competition.
That would
for
definitely affect the reliability. There's no free lunch. Like there's a trade-off for everything. You're decreasing. I mean, a lot of competitive shooters will say they do it because they know the ammo that they're going to be buying works with it.
Yeah, that's valid.
But if you're running random ammo like Tula or whatever through your gun, defensive ammo that might have harder primers, lightening the spring is definitely going to decrease the force with which the striker hits the primer.
At the same time, like I have the ammo I like for competition shooting.
Yeah.
That also just happens to be widely available. The 115 grain Blazer, which I think goes very nice with most Glocks. So to me, that's not going to be a problem. To you, that might be. For the most part, the slide, the finish, those are exactly the same. The slide does have the Gen V upgrades to stop the fun switch. The barrel, the Gen 5 had the marksman barrel, which I really liked. I think they're very accurate. I think almost anybody can put a little time into them and shoot them well. They still have those sights, man. Those sights are still there.
Yeah.
At this point, I'd rather it just came without iron sights, probably. The new optics cut is kind of interesting. They come with the different plastic plates, which do have recoil bosses. I don't know if they'll actually help to manage, keep the stress off the screws or not. I think the idea was, one footprint, a lot of different optics you put on it. Supposedly, the plastic plates will absorb a lot of recoil, keeping a lot of stress off these screws, but that kind of remains to be seen.
The optic footprint might have been a downgrade, and it remains to be seen. We need people like, Ben Stoger to put 100,000 rounds through one Glock. So when you see here, I have FCD plates on all of these Gen 5s. All of my Gen 5s have an FCD plate, and the FCD plate does a great job because the tolerances on the recoil bosses are tighter, so it fits very snugly. and it has very tight tolerances in the front and the back of the optic, which means when that slide is reciprocating in recoil, it's not just the recoil bosses, it's not just the screws that are absorbing all of that force, it's also the entire plate. So I would be very curious to see if those recoil bosses alone absorb enough of the recoil to the point that, you know, the screws don't have that shear force put on them. But the screws definitely were a problem area in the Gen 5.
Again, from a competition shooter's perspective, I don't need this thing to be like bomb proof. I need the optic and the screws and the plate to withstand regular firing. I need to be able to put, 20,000 rounds through this gun per year and have no problem with the screws just from firing it. I don't need to be racking it off of cars or my belt.
Yeah.
I don't need to be racking the gun with the slide or with the optic like some people do. I don't need to be dropping it from shoulder height 50 times during a burn down.
Ben Stoger, you need to test this thing, man. Where are your videos on the Gen 6?
Where are your Gen 6 videos?
You need a couple videos, but they're nonsense. You need to make some real videos. You need to get a Gen 6. You said you were gonna. You can order them now. Get one and test it and beat the hell out of it.
I want a one-take video, 100,000 rounds, one take, one Glock Gen 6.
Ben Stoger, you are a bitch if you don't do a 1,000 round, one take,
100,000 round, one take video.
100,000 round, one take video.
200,000 round, one take.
500,000 rounds with no cuts. You need to do them all at once.
Yeah, it's just a different 47, which means that there's not as much parts availability right now.
It's true.
You don't have to hold it that close.
It's true. Not as much parts, frankly. Not even close to as many parts as a Glock 47 Gen 5.